All right. Hello to everyone who is watching. This is for the Q&A session for the 12th Circuit Governor position. Um, and right now we have Christopher Morgan and James Sullivan who are with us today. And
Hello.
with James first, I'm going to ask for a little introduction about what makes you best for this position.
Great. I want to thank you and everybody for the opportunity to run for the 12th Circuit Governor. As a non-traditional student, I bring an experienced view and skill set to the position. I will work towards continuing to improve upon the foundation that the previous governors and ABA representatives have built. Specifically, I will apply my years of experience in building teams, networks, and communicate, collaborate, and campaign. To improve communication, I will work to improve how and when we communicate. To achieve this, I will host monthly town hall virtual meetings. I will visit each school within the circuit, and I will work to develop strong networking opportunities between law students and legal professionals in the areas of their interest. Collaboration between the schools will build a strong circuit. I plan to continue to build upon this by supporting initiatives at each school, improving working relationships between each school, and facilitating communication between the 12 circuits and the ABA LSD leadership. Campaigning for students will include educating the importance and the scope of mental wellness, inspire personal holistic growth, and empower passions for greater student influence. In determining these goals, I use the SMART method. That is, they're specific, they're measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time-specific. I, of course, will not be able to achieve all of these goals on my own. They will require the cooperation and effort of all the schools and students within those schools. Over my 15 years of leadership in the professional setting, I have gained experience in building diverse teams that inspire those around them. Within the law student community, there is great diversity. Tapping into this diversity is a key to success. Creating a network of diverse voices that value all input will cause us to achieve the lofty goals that I have set before you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now, Christopher, you have 2 minutes for introductions. You're muted, Chris.
Are you guys able to hear me now? Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. A little introduction. My name is Chris Morgan. I'm originally from the Portland, Oregon area. I have an undergraduate degree in pre-law political science from Washington State University, and I'm currently a 2L at the Gonzaga University School of Law in Spokane. I've served as our ABA representative at Gonzaga for over a year now, and most recently have been serving as the executive lieutenant governor of our 12th Circuit under our current governor, Madison Burke. I've been heavily involved in the ABA this past year. I attended the ABA annual meeting this last summer in Chicago, which really gave me the opportunity to familiarize myself with the law school division leadership as a whole and some of the issues that are facing the LSD as a whole and our circuit specifically. Turning to this current election, I really do believe that this election has to be about leadership and who's ready to lead now. In my term as circuit governor, we focus on furthering 5 main points, and these are things that the ABA law school division leadership has been working on for the last year. That being saving our public service loan forgiveness program, creating a sustainable budget for the law student division, expanding the uniform bar exam, getting paid externship opportunities back into schools. I think this is a huge one, and making law school more comfortable and more affordable for our students holistically. I think the law school division has done a tremendous job in the last year making progress on these issues. I think Fabiani has done an amazing job I think Madison's done a great job in leading our circuit. I firmly believe that at this point in time, given my experience with the ABA, my familiarity with these issues, and my vision for the 12th Circuit, that I'm the most qualified candidate to be the next governor of our circuit. And I really hope to receive your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And right now, I am going to ask anyone who's viewing right now, if you have any questions, please start submitting them so I could ask the candidates. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask you guys a little bit about a little bit more about what ideas you have for improving the membership benefits of being a part of the American Bar Association Law Student Division. So James, you could take that one first.
I was going to ask if you could repeat that. You cut out on a couple parts of your question.
Sorry about that. I'm going to ask what ideas you have for improving the membership benefits of the ABA-LSD. More specifically, what are you going to do to make being a law student member more valuable, to be a member of the Law Student Division?
It's a great question. I think if you look back at some of the points that I set up, one of the key areas that this may be addressed in is in communication. Holding virtual town hall meetings each month to help communicate to the students the resources that are currently available within the ABA, as well as being able to provide feedback as to what resources may be more beneficial specifically to each student. I think this also goes to help with collaboration. As we as a circuit work together and are able to bring together unifying ideas and bring that forward into the entire membership of the ABA-LSD, this would allow us to work through and build a platform to present what we need to do, and also to bring those resources that are currently available back to the students as well too. So I think as we communicate with one another, as we talk about what resources are available, because I think there's some great resources already available, and as we hear that feedback on how we can improve that through technology, through making students more aware of what resources are available through the ABA, I believe that we'll be able to improve the students' availability of feeling like they are included as students within their circuit.
Okay, thank you. And Christopher, the same question, and you have 1 minute for your response.
Right, that is a great question. And the first thing I want to address to that point is as ABA membership is now free for law students, we need to figure out a way or different ways that we're going to get them to engage in the programs. One of those specific things that I've seen have great success, specifically at Gonzaga this year, is the partnership with Quimby, which we were introduced to that last year at ABA Annual. Quimby's been very generous in giving us access, at least for a short time, to some of their programs, and getting students to see the benefit of those things. When we're tabling, we can show them, here's Quimby, here's how it benefits you, and especially building off of that, how easy it is to sign up for the ABA. I think for a while people thought potentially it was a hassle if you don't hands-on show them how easy it is, because everyone's busy and everything has things going on. If you don't show them how easy it is to sign up and access those benefits, then it's really hard to get them to engage in them. So that's something we focused on, is showing them how easy it is to access it, and then how easy it is to gain access to the other programs and partnerships that the ABA has been a part of. Particularly Quimby, I think, is a perfect example of something that's really worked, at least at our school, in the last several months.
All right, thank you. James, I'm going to bring it back to you. So we have one question from the audience. How do you see the ABA as a relevant part of the law school experience?
I believe that ABA is another resource, and potentially one of the most important resources for a law student as you work through law school and you prepare to endeavor on this career that you have, for me in my situation, altered my entire life around. I believe that this is a resource that can go with you, not only while you're in law school, but as you become familiar with the ABA, as you become familiar with the resources within the ABA. It will help you as you go out and look for potential career opportunities, as well as looking for maybe changes or advancement within career opportunities. So to me, ABA is an integral part that begins in law school, but it doesn't end there. And I think that's part of what we need to communicate to the students is this doesn't end with your law school experience. This is the beginning that will help you to continue on through the rest of your legal career.
All right, thank you. And Christopher.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think that showing law students how important the ABA is at a young age is, or not a young age, I would say early in their law school careers, is one of the reasons we implemented a free membership. And you get now, a number of memberships to other sections as well. And I think that the LSD as a whole, one of their main functions is to introduce law students to the benefits of the ABA once they graduate. So I know it's hard for some students to understand right now how it's beneficial, but another thing that we need to focus on in terms of engagement, job boards, internship opportunities, things that the ABA offers that are exclusive to law student members, those are the things that we need to continue to get students to realize are there available for them, and then focus on getting them to engage and see the benefits of the ABA, because I think there are a lot of benefits. Again, it just starts by getting them to realize what's there, and I think we've made tremendous strides in the last year to that end in giving law students free membership to at least begin their careers or membership with the ABA.
All right, thank you. So we've touched upon some of the ideas you guys have specifically on how to make a law student membership more valuable in the American Bar Association. What leadership strengths do you guys have to make that happen? James, you first.
Perfect. That's a great question. I think my 15 years of management experience in the business world provides me a great leadership foundation for helping to move things forward. I've been able to collaborate and work with in diverse communities. In other words, bringing people together who didn't see eye to eye in situations or didn't understand the full scope of different situations that may be going on, and being able to bring them along either through education, through making sure that their ideas were incorporated and valued, and also through making sure that they had the input that they wanted to have as individuals. One of the things that I think is critical within the circuits is to make sure that each voice is heard, and making sure that everybody has accessibility, that they know their voice has been heard, and that something is either being done for them or that their concerns have been addressed in some form or fashion. And so I think as far as a leadership perspective goes, I think my past experiences have built a great foundation for making sure that I understand and value what everybody's input is, and make sure that those concerns are addressed as we move forward and making decisions within the ABA.
Thank you. And Chris?
Yeah, thanks again for the question. I think the important thing to remember here, especially in terms of leadership skills, I think especially in the type of area we're talking about right now with our circuit leadership, leadership takes experience. And there's all types of different experience, but I think this position requires relevant experience. I think in the last year, my engagement with these issues, my familiarity with the issues that are facing the law student division right now as a whole, and as our circuit, make me qualified in that regard to be our next circuit governor. Now, leadership, I have experience out of that. I have experience bringing people together. When I was Director of Student Legal Services at Washington State, we served a community of almost 30,000 graduate and undergraduate students who each had different needs. We found ways to bring their voices together to make sure that they were heard. But as I really want to emphasize here, I think a position like this really takes not only experience, but the relevant experience. And those are things, being familiar with these issues that we've been talking about, because we can't wait to start over on these. We need someone who has the experience.
All right. Thank you very much, Christopher. So you guys have touched a little bit upon relevant experience and knowledgeability with the issues that face law students. And I'm going to turn it to you, Chris, and change up the order a little bit. What issues now are law students facing, and well, how familiar are you with the issues that the law student division is working towards in their representation of law student members? Chris, you're muted.
Thank you for the question. So as I kind of outlined in my introduction, I think there's 5 main things that we need to focus on. One thing that I really think is hurting law students right now is the fact that we can't have paid externships. That's something we really pushed and talked about last year at ABA Annual. And I think it's really something that disproportionately affects law students because they're having to make the choice between getting externship credit that they're having to pay for and then not having the ability, even if the employer is willing to pay them, to accept that money. I personally think that's unacceptable, and I think that's something we need to get back into the law school. Balancing our division budget, we talked a lot about that, had a lot of debate about that over the past 6 to 12 months. I think we need to pass a sustainable budget. Expansion of the uniform bar exam. Again, it's something I think disproportionately affects a lot of people. After all, we are the people who are paying for the law student education, and we're putting in the work, and I think that law students really deserve more flexibility in where we can go and where we can practice.
All right. Thank you very much, Christopher. Now, James, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Chris 100%. The non-paid externships can create a hardship for students within the division. I think it's great that the ABA has recently just passed the fact that they want to create a more unified bar exam and that they are pushing and stressing that to happen. In regards to budgets and building budgets, I believe that this is an area that I can be particularly useful and effective in because I have built budgets for million-dollar corporations. I have experience building budgets for political entities such as the community that I used to live in and working on the utility board as a commissioner there. I was able to help and pass budgets and produce successful audits out of that as well. And so I believe these are areas that I have specific and credible experience in and would be able to help move us forward in leaps and bounds in these areas based on the experiences that I've had in the past. I think that in regards to making law school more affordable for students is another area that when we're burdening students with heavy debt as they come out of law school, it really limits where they can go and what options they have in deciding their future paths. And so being able to work towards different avenues to help either reduce the amount of law school debt that students come out. That can also be affected through some different paid externships or different ways to work through those. I believe these are areas that my experience, my budgeting background, my business experience, my working in political and other areas will help us in.
All right. Thank you. Going off of that, we talked a little bit about the issues that are affecting law students. So what tangible steps are you guys going to take to make sure that all these initiatives are going to take effect and bring tangible results for law students in terms of things you brought up, such as the budget, UBE, 3052, et cetera? And please keep your responses to 1 minute. And I'm sorry, also I'm going to ask Christopher to speak first.
Okay. Thank you. Well, this is something that we've already started working on at Gonzaga, and I've talked with Madison about it. One of the big ideas that we had, at least for the public service loan forgiveness thing, as there's different budgets on the table coming across, Barack Obama has suggested capping public service loan forgiveness at $57,000. Other suggestions have been to get rid of it completely. I think what we need to do is really further these lobbying efforts because that's how we're going to get things done. We've asked our dean to partner with University of Washington's dean as well as Seattle University's dean to put together something we're working on right now, put together a formal letter along with a petition that says that we are against this and here are the reasons why. And the ABA has done a great job of outlining the reasons why this is important to law students, why this incentivizes careers in public service, And a lot of our schools, especially in this circuit, are so public service oriented that this is a huge issue to us. So I think these lobbying efforts are extremely important, where we're getting together with people whose voices are heard on the highest level, our deans, our legislators, and getting them to reach out to people that they know and their contacts, and really trying to just move forward on these issues, because it's not going to happen overnight, but we really do have to keep moving forward.
All right, thank you, Christopher. You went a little bit over, so James, I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer this question.
Perfect, thank you. I believe one of the best ways to take steps forward is to build a unified group that's a voice. I think that this is something that I've been able to show my leadership experience in, both in working in the private industry as well as my service as a utility board commissioner. Being able to build a unified voice that is able to talk and communicate and use the force of that unification and able to bring about influence and enable to be able to push forward and take these steps necessary in order to accomplish the goals that we have. Being able to work in the public sector, being able to work within the different entities of government. I've worked for Native American tribes in a political arena. Being able to understand how to navigate through these political different devices, and knowing that building a group that is able to come forward with a single voice is the most effective way in order to be able to get what you want done accomplished. And I think that's the leadership that I can bring forward in this area, is my experience of building these groups and making sure that we have a unified voice that includes everybody within that group.
All right, thank you very much, James. So one more question. So how could the law student division just strengthen their presence within law schools? And I'm going to ask Chris to take that one.
So I think the first thing that we need to do on that front is to get people more familiar with how the ABA works, how there's different sections, getting students at the beginning of their law student careers at whichever school they're at to understand the structure of how it works, understand how their goals and what they want to do with their career works into different sections of the ABA. If they're into criminal law, there's a criminal law section. It's very expansive, so I think the first thing that we can do is get them to understand that the Law Student Division is one of those sections, and get them to understand what we can do for them and the opportunities available through the Law Student Division section. But really holistically, what we have to do is show them the benefits. That's how we strengthen our relationship with the students, getting them to understand what we do and what we can do for them, because law school being as stressful and as fast-paced as it is, we have to give them a reason to pay attention and to see what we can do. So I think that's where we would start. We just have to get them much more familiar with what it is that we do.
Thank you very much. And James?
Yeah, great question. I think, as you saw in my introduction, one of my goals is to visit each of the law schools within the circuit. And part of that would be to reach out, especially to the first-year students, to let them know that the resources are available for them to be able to be successful in what they do. I also believe that there's a second component to this, and that is being able to work and collaborate within all of the different schools, and being able to reach out to the resources that the schools may have in order to be able to make the education process successful for each student. And so students who come in who may feel the pressures, students who want to constantly work on improving themselves, who need access to mental wellness, to help them with a holistic approach to law school, whatever those may be, being able to open up those resources by bringing the schools together and say, here's the collaborative group of resources we have, and being able to present that in person to law students at each school, I think would help be effective in communicating the values and goals of the ABA LSD division.
Thank you very much for your response. And another question from our esteemed audience. Seeing that both of you are very accomplished and active in your schools, do you feel you'll have the time to dedicate to the demands of being on the LSD Board of Governors? And Chris, I'm going to ask you to take that one first.
Thank you for the question. And this is something where I feel that James and I are different. I'm in my second year, and James is in his first year, and I think time commitment wise, especially with this position starting as soon as it is, I think I'm more accustomed to time management with how law school works. I am going to have the time to dedicate to it. I know kind of what it takes. I've worked with Madison. I know what she puts into it and how much it takes. And I think moving forward, having been in law school for longer, I think my time management skills have developed. I'm going to have the time to put into this position, and it's something I'm extremely committed to. I've been committed to it for the last year as I've been working on these issues, and I'll definitely continue to be committed to it. I really feel like I'm ready to lead in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, and James, you could respond to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Time management is one of my strengths. That is something that I have built over the years with my experience. In my last job, while I was working a minimum of 55 hours a week, I also was serving as commissioner on the utility board and taking a leadership role there, serving on all the subcommittees of that utility board, bringing about effective rate changes that were beneficial to our customers. In addition, I also served on other boards as a director, and then I also was volunteering within our community at different events. So time management is something that I'm very effective with. It's not only a skill that I have for myself, but it's a skill that I'm able to teach and train others with. That's something that I believe would help us bring about greater inclusion within the circuit, is my ability to help other people know what time management stresses feel like and how to manage those stresses within your personal life. Having done all of these things and been married for 12 years, I believe that I've shown that I have the ability to manage time successfully wherever I go and whatever I do.
Thank you very much for your response. Seeing that I do not see any more questions. All right. Well, one more question. Sorry. On the board of governors, you have to work with a lot of different people. Can you share an experience where you had a time where you had a group disagreement, and how did you settle that dispute? Chris, I'm going to ask you to answer that first.
Thank you for the question. So when I was in undergrad at Washington State University, I was also the chairman of something called Committee Squared, which is a meeting of all of the student organizations on campus. This was all of the RSO registered student organizations as well as all of the international groups. And with a community as diverse as our university was, it really took a lot to learn how to work with different people, work and see the challenges that they face. For example, a lot of our multicultural groups on campuses were facing a lot of membership issues and event attendance issues that a lot of other groups weren't, and those were challenges. I know that sounds broad, but we were in a room with 25 or 30 different groups of people who had different agendas, but all kind of the same ends. Everyone wanted participation. Everyone wanted to know, how are we going to grow our group, increase membership, and we were able to bring them together and do some really great things. So I think having experience in bringing groups together and understanding what they want, even though you have to approach different groups in different ways, has been a really valuable experience and asset for me moving forward.
All right, thank you. And James?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, I believe my experience working for a Native American tribe, working within that culture and their values, brings about the opportunity for me to share my experience in bringing about agreement from groups that disagree. In addition to that, my service as a commissioner on the utility board, when I became a commissioner, was appointed to that job, the board had a very diverse viewpoint as to whether or not we actually had to follow California laws or regulations, and some people had a very hard stance on that. And their belief was that we should be able to do what we wanted to. I was able to, through honest communication with them and caring about their position, I was able to bring about agreement in both situations. In other words, I didn't shy away from approaching people with the honest truth of here's what it is, but at the same time I was willing to listen and say, here's how we can get your values and your viewpoint to fit into this area, and we can then start bringing about results that you're looking for in addition. So being able to hear what people have to say and being able to use those values to help promote what they want, I think shows the real leadership, and I think I've effectively shown that throughout my professional career.
All right, thank you. So I do not have any more questions for you guys. I don't see any more questions. So I'm going to ask both of you to give a 2-minute closing statement on why you're the best qualified candidate for the position. And I'm going to ask Chris start first.
Thank you, and I want to thank you guys again for whoever's watching for taking the time out of your day to listen to us and consider some of the issues that are facing our circuit. I want to reiterate the fact that I believe this position isn't just about experience, it's about relevant experience. And I believe with the time frame being what it is, with a year long term, a year is a short amount of time to get things done. And that's why we can't start from scratch. We need someone who has been involved in these issues already. I've been at the meetings, I've planned the meetings, I've helped introduce students to the benefits of the ABA, I've worked hard on projects that are trying to further a lot of the things that we're trying to do. I've studied and I've worked hands-on with the issues that are facing our circuit. I've been involved in the arguments at ABA Nationals where we're sitting there and we're debating these things, and I think that's pretty invaluable having been there and seeing the issues firsthand. I firmly believe that we really can't afford to start from scratch. We have to move forward from here, and we need someone who understands the issues and has worked with these issues. And I firmly believe that in that regard, I'm the best leader to move our circuit forward. So thank you again for taking the time to listen today, and I really appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Chris. All right, and James.
Again, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your day. I know that this is important, and I don't diminish this in any capacity whatsoever. I agree with Chris that experience is important, and I believe that my past shows that I have the experience to help lead us moving forward, to build the groups necessary to be effective in leadership moving forward. In regards to relevant leadership, I have experience coming into situations that I wasn't personally involved with to that point, but was able to move them effectively forward in a very quick period of time. And I believe this experience, combined with the vast amount of understanding what the goals and objectives are and how to get those goals and objectives accomplished, is one of the things that I can bring forward in this circuit. My approach to build upon previous successes with an eye towards the future while achieving current goals has fostered my success in my professional life and will continue to do so as I move forward. And I'd like to use those skills to help move the ABA 12th Circuit forward as well too. It has been my experience that the amount of time, work, and self-sacrifice required to be a successful leader often goes unnoticed and unappreciated. And as a current student who benefits from all of your service and everything that you guys have done, I thank you. And I would be proud to represent you as the governor for the 12th Circuit as we move forward and as we address these important concerns that are before us today.
All right, thank you guys very much. We obviously have two very qualified candidates, and I thank each one of you for coming out today and for this Q&A session. And then that does it. Thank you guys for joining us.